Here we go. This is chapter 10, and we're finishing it up. Going to be on number 13. So let's take a look at this. Find the value of x. Well, this isn't that hard. This is pretty easy. You hardly have to know anything about circles to even do this problem, do you? All right, so you want to solve for x, you got a right triangle right here. That's a right angle. Let's make that just a little bit bigger, maybe. There we go. There. See that a little bit better. So watch. I want to find this side right here. Well, I've got a right triangle. All I got to do is find this whole side. The whole side's not 6. Just from here to here is 6. But what is it from here to here? That's 9. How do you know that? Because that's the radius and that's the radius. Let's make this a little skinnier if I'm going to blow it up that big. There we go. And so what's that whole entire side? It's 15, isn't it? Now watch. Without really doing much, I don't even have to do Pythagorean theorem on this. Do you recognize what this is? This is a 3, 4, 5, isn't it? Because 3 times 3, and then 3 times 4, right? And 3 times 5, agreed? So this is 3 times 4, which is 12. That's all you got to do. Knowing 3, 4, 5 triangles is nice. It really is. Every once in a while, it comes in handy, saves you a little bit of work, saves you some time if you recognize it right off the bat. All right, that's easy enough. Let's do number 14. What's the deal with this? They tell you this outside angle. These are tangent to the circle. And what's true about the outside angle? Well, if I take this arc all the way to here, okay, if I take that arc and I take it and I take this one away from it, take the outside arc minus the inside arc. Does that make sense? All right, so this arc from here to here minus this arc from here to here. What do I do with that? If I take what? Do you remember the rule for it? So that angle, that 32, is equal to, do I just subtract those two arcs? What do? Joanna, do you remember? Right, you take half of it. That's right. So it's half the difference of the two arcs. Problem is, I don't know what that arc is. How in the world am I going to take something I don't know and then subtract x from it? Well, this whole thing is a circle, isn't it? These two arcs form the whole circle. So if this is x, I don't know, let's just pretend that it was 100. I'm just making a number up. Let's say this was 100. What would it be from here to here? 260. How'd you do it? What was the math that you did? 360 minus 100. Well, you don't know it's 100, do you? I just threw that number out there. But you do know it's x. So how would I find this arc right here? It's 360 minus x. It's probably not the best place right there, but there you go. That's 360 minus x. Everybody, does that make sense? So that's what that arc right there, that one that I highlighted in blue, that's what that one right there is equal to. So now what do I do to the two arcs? Take the difference of the two arcs. So 360 minus x is one of the arcs, and then I take this away from it, minus x. And if I take half of that stuff, that's going to equal 32. Now watch the math. It's not as hard as it looks. Let's get rid of the 1/2. A lot of people look at this and say, oh, distribute a half. No, don't do that. Get rid of that 1/2 right away. How do I get rid of that 1/2? Multiply by 2. So that gives you 64 equals 360. What's this? Minus x minus x. It's minus 2x. All right? So let's do this. Let's add a 2x to both sides, and let's subtract a 64. So what's that? That's a 6, and that's a 29. Is that right? Did I do that right? 296. Okay. Divide that by 2. Somebody do that for me. I don't know. I should know what that is. It's like 148, right? So 148. Is that the answer I gave you on this? Good. Let me get my answer key out just to make sure that I'm doing them right. Well, maybe not. I can't find my answer key. We'll just have to cross our fingers and hope I get the right answers. Alright, so that's 148. But you got your test in front of you, right? Okay, good. Not that I would doubt that I'd get the wrong answer, or the right answer. No, I do. I do. I never have a whole lot of self-confidence. Even teaching all this long, I still always feel better if I look at an answer key, or you know what I do sometimes? Sometimes I'll take somebody's test that normally does really, really well. Yeah, maybe like Joanna's. And I'll grade hers first. Like if I just made up an answer key, I'll grade hers first. And if she got one wrong, I'll go back and recheck to make sure I did it right. And usually I'm the one that got it wrong, and she's the one that got it right. No, I don't. All right, so that's what I do. Just to be honest with you, that's fine. Let's do this. I gotta find this thing right here. Any ideas? got to be some kind of rule or formula, right? So now these intersect inside. Look, these two intersected outside the circle to get this angle. These intersect inside to get this angle. What do you think? Go ahead.
You do 85 equals half x plus 1.
Good. See, it's a plus this time. When these two lines intersect inside the circle like this, you're not going to subtract the two arcs. You're going to add the two arcs. All right? So it's half. It's still half of the sum of the two arcs. Does that make sense? All right, so that's when it intersects inside the circle like this. So this angle that's inside of here, it's either this one or this one. They're the same, aren't they? So that angle right here is equal to half the sum of the two intercepted arcs. Let's do the math the same. Multiply this side by 2, and what's that? 170, okay, equals x plus 100. Subtract 100, x is 70. Oops, 70. All right, and then there you go. That's all there is to it. The math, the arithmetic is very simple. All right, that's not what's difficult about geometry, right? The arithmetic in geometry is easy. It's just the knowing how to set the stuff up, all right, is what you really want to concentrate on. All right. So let's get rid of some of this mess as well, just so I have some room to write. Orange, I could do that. Yeah, does that symbolize the last day of school? Oh, daggone it, come on. Sorry, I'm trying to reach all the way over here like this, okay. Just to clean it up a little bit. I probably would.
Awesome.
If you play for the Phillies. Well, I left about the 7th inning, and then I went downstairs in my little room to teach some tests, right, to go over some of the tests for YouTube. When I came back up, I figured the Phillies probably already finished. And then ESPN was on. I guess somebody else was watching TV. They went to bed. They left ESPN on, and the guy on ESPN said, "Oh, yeah, the Phillies are in the 16th inning." And I was like, what? So I went back to the Phillies game and watched the Phillies, and that was at like 12:15. That was about like 12:15 or so, and it was the 16th inning. I'm like, well, I better watch it, because if I don't watch it and they win, everybody will be talking about it, and I won't know what they're talking about. So I stayed up till about 1:30 in the morning, just watching the Phillies. It was worth it because they won, and Wilson Valdez pitched an inning, and he's a second baseman. He's never pitched before, but they used all their pitchers, and so they had to get a second baseman in there. It was crazy. It was pretty fun. So let's do this one. It was 19. Went 19 innings. It was like 6 hours and 20 minutes.
It was double the game. It started at 7.
All right, here we go. Let's do this. It was Cincinnati. Okay, no more Phillies talk, as much as I like to talk about it, because we have to finish this. So let's look. All right, here's another angle. This angle is outside the circle, isn't it? Right? It's formed by two tangents outside the circle. So we're going to subtract the difference of the two arcs. Thing is, we got to find what the arc is. We got to find what this arc is. We already know this one right here is 40, but I got to find this little one right here. That shouldn't be too hard, should it? So look, from here all the way to here is how much? 160. And then this little bit, if I take that away from 180, that's just 20. So that arc right there is 20 degrees. Right? So how do I find the angle? Just know the formula. So x is half the difference of the two arcs. So I'm going to write it out. I know you can do this in your head, but I'm going to write it out anyway. 40 minus 20 is 20. Half of that is 10. So x is 10. Right there. 10 degrees. Easy, huh? I mean, the math is easy. Again, you just have to know how to set it up. That's where it gets a little tough. All right, look at this. Now, we're not talking about arcs and angles this time. We're talking about the lengths of segments. All right, kind of looks like the problem we did earlier where the two things intersected inside the circle, but now we're talking about the lengths of the segments. You just have to know the rule again. This chord is broken up by this chord right here. Now, it's not being bisected or anything. We don't know that they're equal to each other, but there is a relationship. Remember we did this? We call that A and call that B, call that C and call that D. I'm just kind of like reteaching it super quick. So do you remember what the rule is? A times B equals CD. Right. So if you remember that, then you should be able to do this. So take these two segments. It's the product of those two segments. So it's 3 times x minus 3 equals, yeah, we'll do that in a second, and then the product of these two segments, which is 2 times x plus 1. Again, that's the hard part. That's the part, that's the geometry part. The rest is just real simple. So it's 3x minus 9, 2x plus 2, subtracted 2x from both sides, added 2 to both sides, x is 11. I do that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Let's go to this one. This one says this. It's got a secant and it has a tangent, and we're talking about the lengths of these things. If you remember, you take the outside, the 6, right, and you multiply it by the what? Not just by x, but by the whole thing. What's the whole thing?
6 plus x.
6 plus x, or x plus 6. Exactly right. A lot of people say 6x, but that's not what that length is it? You got to add the two together, x plus 6. And that equals, look, this outside times the whole thing. Well, the outside and the whole thing are the same number, aren't they? So what do? I just go 8 squared. That's right. And then you just do your math, and that's the easy part. Equals 64. 6x equals, what's that?
28.
It's 36. 28. Okay, so it's just 28 divided by 6. Simplify it. What goes into both of those two? 14 thirds. Just keep it like that. I would just keep it 14 thirds. No reason to change that. You good with that? Alright. Oh, these next two are just way too easy, aren't they?
These ones are hard.
They're easy. You just have to know what the equation of a circle is. They're hard if you don't know the equation of a circle. Okay? So you got to know the equation of a circle. Remember what it is? R squared. Ooh, this is a little bit thin. Let's write this a little thicker. Alright, so R squared is equal to, what is it? X minus, remember the letters we used? H, right? Squared plus y minus k squared. The radius is the R, and the H and the K are the what? The center of that circle. Okay? So if you can remember that, then you know how to do this stuff. Determine the coordinates of the center, okay, and the radius. So I've got x minus 5 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 49. So first of all, what's the radius of that thing? Right, it's 7. It's not 49. Some people put 49 down because remember, r squared is the radius. So r squared equals 49. So r is what? 7. So that's the radius. The center. Look, it's the h and the k. This is x minus, that's your h. So 5 is your h. What's your k? It's just a 4. It's y minus 4. So that's your center right there, and then you're done. Radius, center, that's all there is to it. No arithmetic, well, square root of 49. But other than that, there's really no math really to do. This one, they give you the center and the radius. You just have to find the equation of the circle. Again, if you know this thing right here, that shouldn't be a problem for you at all. So let's do this. R squared. So it says the radius is 5. So what do? 5 squared. We can do that in our head. What's that? 25 equals. And let's set it up like this. It's going to be like this and like this. Right? So it's x minus whatever that first point is. So it's going to be what? X minus 2. And then it's going to be y minus the second point. So it's going to be y minus what? Negative 8. What's minus negative? It's plus 8, and you're done. That's it. You could switch around, put the 25 on the right-hand side if you wanted to. That doesn't make any difference. That's just how I like to write it. Okay? That's all there is to it. That radius stuff, equation of a circle stuff's easy, isn't it? Yeah. So there you go. Now remember, all that other stuff right there that I did that during first period. It's on YouTube, so go to the video. If you don't remember how to do some of that stuff, go to the video and it's all on there. All right. What else I have? 11? Tell you what, let's start another video. We should probably do about half of 11. That'll give me less to do tonight at home, okay? Because I already have enough to do tonight.
Mr. Herbert, did you give us our Chapter 11 tests back that we had Lincoln?
I probably do have some stuff to give back to you. So let me get this all ready to go, and then I'll give those papers back to you.